All right, guys, let's continue with that lesson. This should be able to set you up to be able to complete the rest of the homework that will be due, hopefully, on Thursday. You can get it done. I sent you a link in the classroom. Hopefully you saw that about getting the Google Classroom app for your Chromebook. That will allow you to do the annotation, hopefully. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it'll be just another thing we have to figure out. All right, next problem. 6x squared minus 11x minus 7. This time, we're going to practice factoring. Because we have a leading coefficient, it's not straightforward. If you learn certain little tricks to get around it, you may use them, but I would rather you know the math behind it versus a trick that just happens to work. All right, so what we're going to do, first thought, since my last term's negative, my two factors down here at the bottom are going to be a plus minus. So when I get to this point, I better have a plus and a minus parentheses. All right, next thought, I'm going to take 6 times 7 and get 42. That's going to be the numbers that I work with. I need two numbers that multiply to give me 42, and since they subtract, the negative sign in the back, I'm going to subtract to get 11. So I'm going to think of 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. All right, so out of these three sets, which one subtract to give me the negative 11? We're going to go 3 and 14. All right, so I'm going to go. I'm going to leave this first one the same. I'm going to leave the last one the same. I'm going to put these two in the place of the middle. I'm going to take this apart into two terms. I'm going to do, I either want a 3 and a negative 14, a 14 and a negative 3. Those are my two ways for my plus minus signs. Since I want a negative 11, I'm going to go plus 3x minus 14x. That order doesn't matter as long as you put them in there. If you switch them around, it'll still work. But I'm going to try to match up the pieces that work better. For me, a 6 and a 3 goes pretty well together, and a 14 and a 7 go pretty well together. That's my thought process. All right, so now, next step. I'm going to group by 2's. That's how we factor 4 terms. I'm going to look at these two. What can I take out of both of them? And I can take out a 3x. That's the greatest common factor for both of them. Take out a 3 leaves me with a 2. X squared, take out an x, I get an x. Plus, if I have 3x and I factor out 3x, I'm going to get a plus 1. For this to work, this parentheses has to be here also. It has to be exactly the same. So if I have a negative 14x minus 7, and I want to end up with a 2x minus 1, I'm going to factor out a negative 7. Right, now, looking at these two terms, what do they have in common? Hopefully we see they both have a 2x plus 1 in common, so I'm going to take that out. And when I take that out, it's going to leave behind a 3x minus 7 equals 0. So what I've done so far is I've factored this quadratic equation. To finish solving it, I'm going to set each piece equal to 0. I get x equals negative 1/2. And x equals 7/3. Those are my two solutions. Big thing here is taking apart this middle term into two terms, grouping by 2's and factoring. Hopefully, if I gave you that one to start with, you may not have seen it. But with a little work, maybe we will. All right, just one second. What's that? I don't know. I'm recording the lesson now. I'm not recording it. I'll send it to you, okay? Sorry about that. All right, so those are my two solutions. All right, let's go to here. X squared 10x plus 10x minus 7. We're going to do it two ways. We're going to do the quadratic formula to get an answer, and I'm going to do another example of the completing the square. All right, hopefully by now we know the quadratic formula, where for this problem, my A is 1, my B is 10, my C is negative 7. So I'm going to go through. X equals a negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared minus 4 times my A times my B, all divided by 2A. I get negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 100 plus 28. Oh, my A value is what? 1. Over 2. Negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 128 over 2. We are not allowed to simplify this until we can simplify that. So I'm going to back up and go square root of 128. Factor tree, I'm going to go, first one I see is 4 and 32. 2, 2, 8, and 4. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Hopefully we know that's 8. 2, 2. Whole bunch of 2's. All right, so now, I want to do a square root. I'm looking for groups of 2. So I have 2, 2, 2, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8 square roots of 2. Over 2. Remember, when you do a factor tree, you're looking for groups of 2. If we have this, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 3 times 5 is 15, square roots of 7. All right, now, because I can simplify here and here, negative 5 plus or minus 4 square roots of 2. And those are my two answers. A lot of little steps, nothing hopefully too bad, but something we should be able to get through. All right, I'm going to erase some of this stuff over here and do completing the square, because for me, it's a lot easier, especially the way this one sets up. All right, so x squared plus 10x, move the 7. Write your parentheses square. X plus half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. And I put it on both sides. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So now I have 32. Square root both sides. X plus 5 equals 32. I'm going to go 16 and 4, which is 4. 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Nope, that's a 2 over here, so let me back up a step and erase some stuff. Four squared, so 2, and so plus or minus. Negative 5 plus or minus 4 squared, so 2. Remember, anytime we do this step, right here, when you square root to get rid of a square, it's always a plus or minus. All right, going quick. All right, solve this one. I'm going to isolate the square root. This time, I'm going to square both sides to get rid of my square root. Finish solving. and I get 13. Just to make sure. I'm going to plug it in. 26 minus 1 is the square root of 25, which is 5. So I know I'm good. Hopefully that's an easier one. All right, and our last one. Hopefully we remember absolute value. We're looking for two answers. 2x minus 1 equals a 5. And I also want to know when 2x minus 1 equals a negative 5. We write this part twice as a plus or minus. 2x equals 6, x equals 3. 2x equals a negative 4, x equals a negative 2. And we always want to take that extra couple seconds. So I have 6 minus 1, which is the absolute value of 5 equals 5. We're good. The absolute value of negative 4 minus 1 is the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Take that time to check them. All right, went quick. Hopefully they are just a quick little refresher for you. If you have any questions, email me, send me a message, do something. Just let me know. All right, have a great one, and I will see everybody on Thursday.